SESI, uma iniciativa da CNI, Confederação Nacional da Indústria, apresenta...
A school for the future meant a school that can change with the different needs in pedagogy. So therefore this school was planned with open learning spaces where you are flexible and can make new learning spaces when it is needed. A building that makes traditional teaching impossible. So when you teach in an open learning space, you have to make student activating teaching.
Vi har jo forskellige undervisningsmuligheder og metoder. Der er jo de lukkede lokaler, hvor vi sidder helt traditionelt, hvor læreren forklarer om et emne, hvis vi skal begynde på et emne, starter med at forklare, underviser. Og så har vi arbejdsspørgsmål, for eksempel, hvor vi har læst en tekst, og læreren stiller nogle spørgsmål, som vi skal besvare. Så har vi gruppemiljøer, som er udenfor, hvor lærerne giver nogle spørgsmål, som man så besvarer på computeren.
Det er meget lettere at have det uden bøger, fordi de kan godt være rigtig tunge, og så er det meget lettere bare lige at tage sin computer op, og så har man alle sine ting i computeren. Men ja, det er rigtigt. Jeg kan rigtig godt lide det.
It's not always that you go and do BMXing. We do stuff like this, like once a month, I think. Something different. We go ice skating. We do a lot of stuff.
Ørestad Gymnasium is situated in a new district of Copenhagen called Ørestad. And Ørestad used to be sea ground, and after the Second World War it became land, and it was owned by the state and municipality, and they want to develop a new district. And in this district we have both houses with apartments for people, and we have very many companies. So there's life in the district all day. That was the main idea. And in this district of Copenhagen, we have the Danish national television company, Danish Radio, is it called. We have the university, we have the IT university, and we have this school, and we will have more elementary schools also. And we have many companies with a media profile. So when we started this school, the idea was to have a school with a media profile.
Altså, der er ingen tvivl om, at vores hus, at vores arkitektur har været en stærk motor i forhold til, eller en katalysator i forhold til at tænke anderledes omkring undervisning og læringsmiljøer. Så det har været en katalysator for videndeling, som rækker ud over gennemsnitsgymnasier. På hvordan, men du må godt prøve at lade den ankomme, altså så den vokser enten i dig, så man ser altså kroppen og sådan, at du er ved at eksplodere til sidst.
At Ørestad Gymnasium we have around 1100 students, And right now we have 43 classes. Next year we will have 44 classes. We have 3 years of studies, so we have 15 classes each year.
We thought about Ørestad Gymnasium as a structure, remember that? How it affected you, how the surroundings would affect you, the fact that you have a schedule, lecture, and all those kind of things. How does it affect your behavior, the structure you're in every day? We talked a little bit about that.
The first half year of the Danish gymnasium is an introductory year. And during that half year, they must choose which study line to study afterwards. So the next 2.5 years are fixed. They have 10 different study lines at this school, but the first half year is common to all students. And 1/4 of our students take a study line within science, natural sciences, and then we have humanitarian study lines and social sciences study lines and artistic study lines.
My line here is journalism, and it's not like only journalism because it's like a mix, because I raised media class from C to B, and like so it's like kind of combined. But in journalism in class we are writing a lot, and we are making like a lot of written assignments, and in media we just like making a lot of practical films. Yeah, I think that is very nice.
Så er spørgsmålet, hvordan kan I kontekstualisere det? Og hvordan vil I vurdere kommunikationen i sådan en film? Hvad er det, I vil vurdere på? Om det lykkes? Hvordan vil du vide det?
Most of the subjects in all the study lines are exactly the same. Everyone must have Danish and history and mathematics and things like that. But they are taught in a little different way. So the idea behind the Danish study lines is to enable the different subjects to work together, to work with the same theme in different subjects, and to make projects together. The idea is that to enable the students to work in depth with a problem and to see that you can see a problem from different points of views. If you see it as a science problem, you see this and that, and if you see it as a social science problem, you see some other things.
Abu Ghraib, right
Showing
there.
Americans abusing Iraqi prisoners.
Yeah, but we talked about this prison who was Abu Ghraib, and that was American soldiers who were sent down there to take care of the prisoners, and they were horrible. But then
My specialization here is social study, and I want to study as a lawyer after. So I chose this like study line because it has the study, the lessons, so I can come into Copenhagen University afterwards.
So you write down a couple of notes?
yeah, that was
And you don't have to write too many notes, because this is like more improvised.
Yeah.
You talk together, what does it mean? And then you just, you know...
we basically want to film a discussion.
Oh, well,
We have a system where the students must take 4 subjects to the A level and 3 subjects to the B level. That means they will have the subject for 2 years, and then 7 subjects to the C level. So some of the subjects are finished after the first year, others after the second year, and then after the third year in June, they graduate, and after that, they are prepared for further studying.
Hvad er der? Det stod ikke noget om eleverne i lektionen til i dag.
Nej, men så må du finde det andre steder.
I take the study line called Science, which means that I have high-level physics and high-level math, and then chemistry as another level, standard level. Here we also have these different types of classrooms. We have the normal closed-off classrooms, we have the group classrooms, and we also have a third type of classroom, which is like a kind of an open / like a combination of a group work / closed-off classroom. And these group classrooms that I've been talking about are like very special. For example, we use them a lot in physics and math or in chemistry, where the teacher would start out in the normal classroom and the teacher would talk about a certain subject. For example, physics, it would be about cosmology, and then we'd go out into these group environments and start working. And this really helps us because out in the real world or out in the business world, you also do have to communicate with colleagues. You're not an individual. You're not by yourself. You do need to learn to work with everyone. And that's what Ørestad kind of focuses on, because sometimes you also need to learn to work with other people that you find it really hard to work with.
Og så har vi vores formel, vi fik fra Saúde, som er så delta-distancen lige med K gange R, hvor K det er 1,55 i vores tilfælde. Så isolerer vi så distancen i vores første formel.
Ja, det er hastighedsformelen.
Ja.
Okay, skal vi
screencaste?
Ja, så kom herover, Janus.
Hvad?
When we work in the group environment, we talk a lot with others because it's a group environment and you work as a group. You learn a lot from the group environment. You learn to respect others and others' opinions, even though you don't have to agree with their opinion. So you talk with them and you discuss the question you got to answer, and then you have different people's opinion of it, and then you have a bigger view of the question.
Vi skal alligevel kun bruge 7 punkter. Sådan der.
Ja, så er det lige noget der.
Hvor er det smart problematisk, det her?
Har du den?
Jeg tror, jeg har den. Ja.
The first year of Ørestad is really, really hard because you feel like you may start like not really hating, but you do start disliking each other because it's like some people you work better with other people than you do with some others. They might be really good friends, but when it comes to schoolwork, you may work better with Maria, for example. But then along the years, now I'm in year 2, and I can work with every single one in my class, and we do it's very productive still compared to what in first year. So I feel like Ørestad really gets you ready for what's beyond school, what's beyond high school.
Ja, altså forskellen på os og det der herude, der går for hurtigt væk.
Ja, så det var noget med, hvis det var en.
You can say that during the 3 years, they learn how to study. They become more and more independent. And in the 3rd year, they write a big essay and make project where they have to work in groups to prepare for the final exams. And then we have the final exams. And it's in the 3rd year that they have the subjects on the A level. So in the 3rd year, we prepare them for further studying. So it's a gradual transgression from pupils in the elementary school to students at the universities. That's what we are aiming at.
Yes. Then we move to the definition of structural evil. The evil within, the bad barrel as such. So structural evil is the bad barrel, not the apples, but the barrel itself. The evil which arises from structure within human societies and social groups. It can exist on macro levels, like slavery, apartheid, and it can exist on micro levels. Like
the way I usually guide my classes is that I prepare myself, of course, from home. We have a central theme which stretches for 10, maybe 12 different classes. And then, of course, when we begin the theme, we spread out the whole deal. What are we going to work with? What are the central issues we're going to work with within the central theme? And then every module is planned in a progression. It can be, now I'm a language teacher, so vocabulary would be part of the progression. Then of course I have some central points, maybe theoretical points I want to make sure they get as well. So we kind of structure it and build it gradually. And I also leave open spaces because the students react differently to my plans. I cannot completely know beforehand what they're going to do and how they're going to react, if they need more time, if they just, get it right away. So I kind of put in little spaces where I can stretch out things or maybe put in some new stuff.
All our communication, the way we structure teaching, is based on ICT. All our lessons, all our teaching materials are available digitally. So you can never see a teacher and a student without a laptop or an iPad. So they bring their teaching materials with them everywhere, and they can produce and share everywhere. And the most important tool in the pedagogy of this school is the Google environment. Just like sharing is important in the building, sharing is important in the way that we work. And the shared document tool, I think, is our most important tool at this school. If 2 or 3 people are talking to each other, they create a shared document.
One of the 3 cells was designated as a privileged cell. The 3 prisoners least involved in the rebellion were given special privileges.
When you have teaching in open learning spaces, you have to organize the activities of the students. So we use ICT to plan and organize and differentiate the activities of the students. So it's a modern way of having classroom leadership. It's organized in our Google app setup, and the students know what to do, and they can use the teacher as a coach because the activities are planned for them. They don't need a teacher to tell them everything before they can do a thing.
So you got to go through all the presentations, find each other's presentations in the folder so you can see them. Yeah. So try if you can get through all of them.
Yeah.
How far have you now? How far have you come? No, okay. No, okay. You just do your best, okay? But you can see they're all here, so you can just go through them. Try to get through them.
But what's important to our experience is that teaching in the open areas where the students are active must be just as organized as teaching in the classrooms. It looks as if they just sit and talk and have a nice time, but they are really working. But that's a challenge for us. But normally I think it works very well.
Lad os se. Det, som er sket i år, 3.G'erne har haft deres SAP-workshops, og 1.G'erne har haft deres ETU-arbejde, og så har vi haft et projekt, som gik i vasken med 2.G'erne.
Yeah.
So I've been involved in developing our methods to teach the kids or the young people some media skills, especially in developing our journalistic study line, where we teach, it's not that we educate journalists, but we try to do use journalistic techniques for angling a story and to how to use sources and how to do research. And we try to do that in different topics. We use a journalistic technique in the aim of teaching the kids to do efficient communication, angled on the receiving end. Opfattelse af dets indsats, ikke? Hvordan får vi Josefine, hvordan får vi Ønslærer i spil?
Altså, jeg vil sådan sammenligne dem med, du ved, først at snakke om det der med landbruget, der var før, og det der idyllisk, og vi klapper en gris, og der er et yndigt land, og sådan noget, til hvad der har udviklet sig til, eller hvad man siger.
Part of the work has been to establish a network around the study line. They do media practice, and they visit and they work in Copenhagen media houses or in organizations who has communication development departments. So part of the work is to, and the development has been to establish this network, so we can send our young people into the community and make them work, in real life frames, if you want.
Hola.
Hvorfor kan Gustav ikke høre? Jamen, Gustav, kan du ikke høre, hvad jeg siger? Nej. Hvad med nu? Ja. Okay, gider du ikke lige høre?
For example, we are making it's like, I don't know quite how to explain it, not even in Danish, but we have like this thing in Danish called OEG something that is kind of like a talk show that is like every month, I think. I stopped because I'm a senior now and you're not allowed because of the school project and stuff. But like before I was the host in like 1.5 years, I think, and that was like, I really enjoyed that because that was also like something to do with media, and that was like a talk show, but everyone was like, every student is forced to watch it, so we get really a lot of viewers, but yeah.
Hej alle elever på Ørestad Gymnasium. Hvis I har lyst til at være med i et professionelt ungdomsprogram kaldet 90, så skal I skrive en mail til Sofie Engberg lige hernede under, og vi glæder os til at se jer.
When the students are going to the second G, they have to go to a travel where we put chemistry and mathematics together.
Because our line is science, we went to Prague, and in Prague we had a look at different brewing factories, breweries. So when we came back from the trip some weeks ago, we had to do a project on this, of course, which is natural. We do a lot of projects on trips we do, but this is a bigger project. This was a presentation, and this presentation was focused on methods, because in Prague, we tested this beer that we got from different breweries, and we tested it using different methods, whether it was whether it was testing it through absorbance in light, or whether it was through the sugar levels, many different ways. And we talked about the different ways that you could use methods from chemistry and physics to get different results, which was pretty nice. And then we had a debate in class, and followed by a presentation where you got feedback from the teachers.
When they start in school, we tell them that we have this, and then they start to put some money aside for this travel. If there are any family which don't have so much money, they can get some help from the community and from the school system, as the ministry. They can pay for this, so they have to pay the half.
Det er klart, at vi er særlig optaget af, at vi alle sammen bidrager til, at Ørestad Gymnasium er et rart sted at være og et rart sted at lære. Og det betyder også, at vi skal hjælpe hinanden med at få hverdagen til at glide, også alt det praktiske. Når eleverne bidrager til at rydde op efter sig, også i frokostpausen osv., så handler det også om, at det er blevet sat i system, og at det er en vigtig del af det at være her. Det er simpelthen, at man bidrager til det, og også på den måde får vist, at vi er et fællesskab og gerne vil hinanden.
De har skulle stå for at tage imod turister eller folk, der kommer ud af fra, i stedet for at det er en eller anden information eller en lærer, der står og går rundt og snakker, så hører de i stedet for elevernes perspektiv.
I'm also very active, during in Ørestad. I'm a what you call a vice president of the student council, and we have student council meetings regularly every month, sometimes twice a month. Right now, we're focusing on creating a bond between us students and the administration and the board. So me and Bianca, who's the president of the student council, have weekly meetings with Alan and Susette to really start communicating better. And to be able for the students to take their own actions and create decisions.
Altså alt fra gospelsang til udenrigspolitisk diskussionsklub til skakklub. Altså at der var en række af sådan nogle aktiviteter hen over skoleår, så der var noget for alle. Den måde, vi ligesom har talt om det i ledelsesgruppen på, det har været, at vi vil gerne opbygge et fællesskab af fællesskaber. Altså opgive en idé om, at vi kan være fælles om alting, men alle skal være med i noget.
The students at this school are evaluated in very many ways. we have a formal evaluation system defined by the Ministry of Education. In every subject, the students are evaluated 3 times each year, and they get marks. And the final mark for the subject is counting in the exam's certificate. So that's the formal system, and every school does that. Then we have lots of more informal feedback mechanisms, talks between teachers and students, and feedback on the written assignments of the students. And we use many formats for that, written comments from the teachers, and also oral feedback where they talk about the assignment. So we are working more and more to develop our feedback mechanisms. It's clear for the students what to learn, and they get feedback on the progress they make.
Jeg tænker bare, at vi gør det, sætter den på den der runde cirkel der, og så kan vi stå og...
Jamen, vi arbejder rigtig meget med at inddrage eleverne, så de på forskellige vis får mulighed for at have indflydelse på, specielt når der er i de her større projektperioder, så de har indflydelse på, hvad er det for et tema, og specielt når det er problembaseret projektarbejde, at de selv er med til at formulere, hvad er det, de gerne vil blive klogere på. Så hvis det, hvad skal man sige, udspringer af en autentisk nysgerrighed hos eleverne, så er det klart, så er man mere motiveret.
Så gør man det bare for den gjorde, ikke? Gjorde den. Og så var der også før bønnen, så var der jo også voodoo, som er renselse, før man begynder.
Sådan en spirituel renselse?
Ja, eller det er bogstaveligt også en renselse, men altså ikke et renselse, men mere sådan en ritual renselse, ja.
Og det gør man sådan, vasker hænderne 3 gange?
Jeg skal starte med at vaske hænderne 3 gange, munden 3 gange, næsen 3 gange, ansigtet 3 gange, højre hånd 3 gange, venstre hånd 3 gange.
Og det er højre hånd først?
Altid højre hånd først.
Og hvorfor gør man det?
Højre hånd er bare den rene hånd.
So at Ørestad, there's a huge diversity of cultures, and that's very important to us because we also live in Denmark, and it is diverse. And Ørestad is a great example of this because we have different cultures, and it's very good to talk about this because I think in Denmark you have this notion that you don't really talk about religion, but that's what we do in Ørestad in our religion classes. We actually talk about what it is, what religion really is.
Så ser de så, og så går man op og krammer, og man klapper nogle gange. Men man spørger også lige, imellem der spørger også sådan lige, det er ikke tvang, og så siger han, nej, det er ikke tvang, det er egen fri vilje, og siger han, ja, det er egen fri vilje, eller hun. Og så klapper man, går op og giver et knus, eller giver hånd.
I interviewed my classmate, Mahmoud, and it was very nice because we discussed these different kind of rituals. We discussed why it's important. Mahmoud is a Muslim, and therefore we discussed the different, like, why it's important for him, and to get an insight in what it is to be a Muslim was pretty nice. Yep.
Og derovre? Okay.
Og jeg tror det lærer dem en del, og de lærer hinanden at kende på en anden måde. De lærer mange flere kulturer at kende. Især hvis de er gode til at integrere sig med hinanden, hvis de har et forhold til hinanden i klassen. Det er jo ikke altid, at de har det, men det har de for eksempel i mange af mine klasser, synes jeg, hvor de lærer hinanden at kende på kryds og tværs af forskellige kulturer. Og det tror jeg bare er en fordel for dem, når de kommer ud i den store verden og se, at der er ikke kun frikadeller på menuen. Der er en større verden rundt omkring dem. I skal jo huske, at når vi skal derind, ligesom når vi skal til moskeen, der gælder jo nogle retningslinjer for, at man opfører sig pænt, og det gør I selvfølgelig også. Det ved jeg godt. Men jeg har nemlig min kollega, der har været derinde før, og hun har ikke fået lov at komme igen, og hun er lidt bange for, at eleverne faktisk var for hårde. Eller hun ved det ikke. Hun synes bare, det er meget mærkeligt, hun ikke får nogen. Jamen, vi gør tingene meget anderledes herude, end man gør på andre skoler, tror jeg. Vi bruger mange forskellige undervisningsmetoder. Og det er også meget individuelt fra lærer til lærer, hvordan man underviser, men jeg kan godt lide at kombinere mange forskellige ting. Så nogle gange er det klasseundervisning og tavleundervisning, og nogle gange leger vi. Det er en af de sjoveste ting, synes jeg, især i biologitimerne. Det er at lege med eleverne, så de får lavet alt muligt forskelligt. Og tage på ekskursioner og opleve tingene i virkeligheden, i stedet for bare at læse det i en bog.
We try to involve the surrounding community as much as possible. But I think the teachers do it a lot. So I think it's integrated in the way that we teach. So I think the students have situations where they are involved in the outside world every week. When the municipality of Copenhagen planned this school, it was the idea that the schools should be an organic part of the development of a new city. And I think we have become that. But right now we don't have so many students from Ørestad because most of the people who live here have only children. But during the next 10 years, I think we will have many students from Ørestad and be an even more integrated part of this new city.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
When we read about it in class, we were like, okay, there's some rituals there. Like we listed, maybe we could count like 10 or 11 rituals. But then when you visit the mosque and you see the ritual and you start praying, there's so many more, which is a nice experience to see. And also how they actually follow the rituals. And like I'm Christian, but I'm not a very strict Christian, or I'm a believer in Jesus, but I'm not as strict as they are in the mosque in the sense that I don't have that many rituals. I don't go to Sunday church, and they pray every single day, and they pray 5 times a day, and it's really nice to see how religion is a part of them so much compared to me.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Så det, at de kommer ud til en moské og prøver at være med til en bøn, det tror jeg er en kæmpe gave for eleverne at få lov at opleve, hvordan det i virkeligheden så er. Et er, at man kan læse det i en bog, men et andet er at se det og faktisk også se sine klassekammerater være en del af den her kultur. Det tror jeg også har været en øjenåbner for mange af dem, og det har de også fortalt mig.
Puberteten, og så bliver kvinderne ofte sådan, der kommer en kvinde nogle gange. De har også ansat en kvinde her, faktisk. Der kommer også en kvinde underviser, jeg tror, det er 1 gang om ugen, sådan noget. Eller herinde også. Kvinder også adgang.
Men som du sagde, kvinden leder ikke bønnen. Nej, det må vi ikke, nej.
Men der er jo kommet en moské, som er...
Ja, som er... Ja.
Entonces, los únicos lugares. Det kan du ikke sige, men du kan sige el único lugar.
The teachers are the key to our pedagogical strategy, of course. Because being a teacher at this school, you have to accept the building and you have to be able to develop teaching methods together with your colleagues that suits this building. So it has been important for me to hire teachers that are ready to take risks, that are ready to collaborate, that want to use ICT, and then that can communicate with the students. Because when you have teaching in the open areas, you're very close to the students. So you have to like students. You have to like talking to them and helping them. I think they get a little closer to the student at this school compared to other schools.
Nej, fordi det er dem, der ligger hernede. Det er rigtigt. Hvem sagde hvad? Aminosyre. Det er fuldstændig rigtigt. Det er aminosyrene og aminosyre. Når vi kobler dem sammen, så får vi et polypeptid, og det...
But it has been important for me also to have teachers from different age groups. So we don't have only young teachers. I think it was important when we started the school that I wanted to have old teachers and experienced teachers as well. So we have a mixture of young and experienced teachers, and I think that has been very important for us. But one thing that you can't underestimate is they must be willing to collaborate. So we have a very strong culture of collaboration among teachers. Right now they are working in developing common teaching materials for 1/3 of the curriculum. So they have to agree on what is good teaching, what are good teaching materials, and we try to build a culture where they go into each other's classes and give feedback on what they are seeing. This is an open building, so you have to accept that others can see what you are doing. So we can't have private practitioners. We have to have team workers.
Kom bare indenfor.
Vi er 3 uddannelseschefer, en vicerektor og en rektor her på Ørestad, og har fordelt opgaverne mellem os. Dels så har vi selvfølgelig ansvar for et antal lærere og studieretninger, og så har vi selvfølgelig en hel masse opgaver, som går på tværs. Grundlæggende er vi jo alle sammen optaget af at udvikle skolen i en sådan retning, så vi alle sammen bidrager til at skabe de bedste betingelser for elevernes læring og trivsel. Og det handler selvfølgelig også om at initiere forskningsinformerede pædagogiske udviklingsprojekter, og det handler om at skabe gode betingelser for lærernes samarbejde.
Says, if the intention is here to get information or confession to punish somebody for doing something, which is, outside the law at this point, that would be part of torture as well. And notice, we talked about that before, early on in this program, notice that it says both physical and mental harm. So what could mental torture be, for example?
The relationship between the teachers, I think, in this place is quite special. Whenever we evaluate how things are going here, how we feel about our job, I think the first thing that pops up is that we love to work with each other. And there's a good work culture, so to speak. We share a lot. And it's part of the motivation of working here too, I think. And there's always room for experiment. We're a large group of over 100 people. There's always somebody to play with. If you have an idea, something a little bit crazy you want to do, there's always somebody who says yes.
Tak, Liselotte, for et lille blik ind i første F. Det var spændende at se. Det er et spændende emne, I har med at gøre. Jeg vil lige starte, som jeg plejer, med lige at ganske kort ridse op, hvad jeg lagde mærke til. Og så tænker jeg, at vi zoomer ind på det, som du var særlig optaget af, nemlig det her med, hvordan du tænker, at det lykkedes for dig til at få eleverne til at tale frit om et lidt udfordrende, lidt svært emne.
In order to become a high school teacher in Denmark, you have to be educated at the university and to have a master's degree. And normally they have 2 subjects. So most of our teachers teach 2, some of them 3 subjects, and a few of them only 1. So they have a very good level in subject qualifications. Their pedagogical qualifications are taught when they have finished their studies. So when they are hired at a school, there is a pedagogical and didactic training program for them, where they learn from experienced teachers and where they learn pedagogy and didactics on courses. So and it takes 1 year.
Rectum.
Sådan, Kåre.
Ej, Henrik, du får
Nu har du fået et nyt kælenavn.
Vi holder ledelsesmøde ugenligt og forsøger at dele vores møder op, således at vi har nogle møder, hvor vi koncentrerer os om at få ordnet sådan det hurtige fix. Det kan være alle mulige praktiske ting, der skal ordnes. Og så har vi et andet møde, forum, hvor vi primært fokuserer på sådan pædagogiske drøftelser og mere strategisk tænkning omkring organisationen.
Måske kan vi lære dem noget innovativ motivation, så de går videre, ikke? Altså, det er vi nødt til at prøve.
Jeg ved ikke, hvordan vi skal gøre det, men altså, det er som om, de stopper midtvejs.
Det interessante er, at de samme elever i erhvervsøkonomi har de været med i European Business Game. Og der var et par grupper, der var sådan lidt både over, ikke? Men de 3 grupper, der gik videre til semifinalen, de har brugt enormt meget krudt på at lave en fremragende præsentation. Og det gjorde de rent faktisk ikke, altså da vi havde den.
Ja, det her møde, det er jo et møde, hvor vi tager tæten på, hvad det er, der sker i vores innovationsstudieretning. At vi forsøger at samle op på de aktiviteter, vi har haft det kommende de sidste 3-4 måneder, og så forsøger vi at planlægge, hvad vi skal lave den næste periode. Det handler også om, at vi undersøger, hvordan man arbejder med innovation i studieretningerne og i fagene. Innovation, det skal bruges i både i dansk, i historie, i erhvervsøkonomi, i samfundsfag.
Jeg tror, vi bliver nødt til at lave en slags databank af idéer på, hvad man kan lave af innovation i det små i første G. Ja. Fordi det er rigtigt, dansk og historie er fuldstændig fastlåst, men de andre altså studieretningsfag, lærerne, er ikke fastlåst på samme måde.
Nej, fordi man siger, det står der ikke nogen forklaring på bordet. Men tekster har det jo med, at hele forklaringen er der ikke.
So what we have to be very careful about is to organize teaching that makes it possible for the students to focus. Because you can see everything, you can hear a lot, you have your laptop so you can surf on the internet, so there are many distractions. So it's very important for our teachers to organize teaching that's exciting and motivating and forces students to work. But I think when we walk around in the school, normally we have very much concentration during the lessons and then very much noise in the breaks. So the students learn how to behave in the open spaces. So they walk around in the building without making too much noise because they know it's disturbing for their fellow students.
Essa ideia de você centrar a relação professor-aluno, aluno-aluno, numa relação mais afetiva, mais de troca, mais de confiança, exigem que as pessoas se vejam, se olhem. A arquitetura da aprendizagem demanda que as pessoas estejam se vendo. Não pode estar um olhando para a nuca do outro. Depois, se a gente vai criar coisas, essa criação não pode ser também todo mundo em fileira, né? Ou arrumados de forma rígida. Porque para você soltar a criatividade, você precisa de ambientes que também sejam mais disruptivos, que te levem a inventar mais, né? Então, é preciso quebrar com essas coisas muito simétricas, muito pré-estabelecidas e tentar novas formas de cadeiras em círculos, de cadeiras no pátio, de 100 cadeiras, puffs. É quebrar com essa lógica que está estabelecida também e a gente não sabe mais a que ela está respondendo. Essa nova geração, ela demanda espaços de coautoria, ela demanda espaços de participação mais efetiva. Essa é a nossa sociedade contemporânea. Então, a gente precisa fazer com que a escola abra espaço para isso, para que eles possam participar, para eles possam tomar decisões juntos com os gestores e os professores. Isso para que faça mais sentido, mas porque o mundo está demandando esse tipo de habilidade. Se eles tiverem a condição de exercitar mais essa capacidade de fazer boas escolhas dentro da escola, certamente eles vão fazer melhores escolhas também na sua vida pessoal, na sua vida cotidiana.
In my opinion, I have grown a lot from this school because you get a lot of responsibility doing the tasks you get because the teacher depends on you and the teachers depends on how you work and that you work. For example, if we are given a task and the teacher says to us, oh yeah, you can work from home, we have to do it at home. That comes along with this school, that we have to be adults. We have to be mature about the things because otherwise we won't learn anything. And it's not because the teachers won't learn us anything. They're really good at this school, but we have to do it ourselves too. We have to take responsibility because that's the one thing we have to know when we start in this school.
Vi skriver sådan en lektiosession herud, ikke?
Ja.
I skal lave en screencast. Det kan vi lige snakke om bagefter med det, ikke? Jo. Det rent tekniske. Men det, I simpelthen skal lave, det er, I skal være 2 og 2 i A-grupperne. 2 og 2.
Yeah. The vision of this school is to create a school where we teach students to become citizens in the future society. So therefore, we call our vision Tomorrow Today. And by saying tomorrow today, we want to say that we will work today, but all the time with one leg in the future, so to speak. It's important for us to give the students global competences or teach them global citizenship, so that they know that the world is something that can be changed and that they can play an important role in changing the world. And we think it's both important that they are prepared for this world, can act in it as productive citizens, but also that they can look at the medialized world in a critical way and become active citizens that can reflect on what's happening in the media.
Uma parceria SESI, uma iniciativa da CNI, Confederação Nacional da Indústria.